Enter the crib. Your strike back sit rep starts in 3, 2, 1. Wait, do we go on 0?
All right, welcome back, Memers. We are here to talk about Warrior Episode 3. It's so good! Spoilers ahead.
Big time spoilers.
Yeah, I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Deb.
And I love this show so much. And I hate
right?
HBO for not. Okay.
It was the one thing I didn't want to say to you when I knew you had started being able to watch them was, because it just gets better and better and better. And it's so hard to not think of the future.
Man, this episode was crazy. It was, holy shit, it was crazy. There's a lot. Yeah.
And yet this was a much quieter episode than we've had. And
quieter?
Well, yeah, I mean, it had massively huge moments, but there was a lot more quiet in it this time.
There was.
And very meaningful quiet.
I guess I'm like stuck on the end. I'm like, Bill's family almost died. What do you mean quiet? Oh my God. That was crazy. I mean, when he almost slit that boy's throat.
Oh man.
Holy
I mean, that
shit.
just, well, should we back up or do you just want to go right to the...
We should back up. Okay.
Right.
So we open, Asam's back fighting, where I thought was a really interesting opening where it's just like, it's the end of the fight and the guy's going down and Asam
with a little smile on his face.
Yeah. And Asam just looks like, okay. He's obviously not getting what he needs from the fights anymore, which is kind of huge. And I thought his interaction with Vega was interesting, where he kind of dismissed her as when she's like offered him company. He's like, you have all the company you need. And she's like, you don't know me at all. I thought, and she looked so sad in that moment. Like it was really, she's not just pirate girl,
right? She looked sad, and he was like, it's sort of that moment where they both realize we both have pasts that would surprise you.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's it. He had the same audience realization that she's deeper than just pirate girl. But I mean, I think, there was so much. There was a lot, with Makati Pants and Mei Ling continuing this cycle of like, she's making decisions he doesn't like. And it's, I find myself going like, I don't know, like hers are made out of fear. They're made out of this terrible deal with Buckley, but she's also the leader and he's supposed to just go along with what she does. But at the same time, I'm also like, you have advisors for a reason. And maybe you need to.
Well, and she's motivated by fear and a real, like insatiable need for power.
Right. Yeah. But I think that insatiable need for power from her comes from fear, needing to be at a point where she doesn't have to ever be afraid because she's in charge of everything. So I guess that's my thought on that. Whereas like Asam has the same insatiable thirst for power, but his is like, seems like power for power's sake and like to get back at her.
Yeah, definitely to get back at her. And the sad thing about Mei Ling is that, just like everybody who every person who just focuses on the need for power and control and money is that they can never look past the fact that always ends. Yeah. And that was, just
and there's always someone else.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you have Liang who keeps trying to just take a breath and think about the big picture. There's a reason things are done the way they're done. And she just, no, it's my way, and just won't listen to him.
No, yeah, it's not.
So then he's kind of got that little grain of fear, like, well, how long am I good for here?
Yeah, I think that's because we saw that sort of like emotional moment and that connection in like the first episode, and now we've seen this, and I think he's realizing that I think he wants it to be a partnership, not in that like he's in charge, but that like we are partners. You're still in charge of the Tong, but we are emotional partners or whatever. And she's like, no, guy will let you in to where I think vulnerability is safe. And that's it. Yeah, that's hard. We got a new character who I really like.
Yes, he's awesome.
He's so
and
yeah.
so unexpected.
Oh my God.
Just everything about him is so
Everything
unexpected.
about it is absolutely. So Hong gets off the boat from China. He's a Chinese, they brought in these soldiers from the Chinese Tong, and he is like, I wrote down like, what's up with Surfer Dude? Because that's like his whole vibe is just like, I'm here to chill, but then he's also kind of psycho, and like, I like just love him. I think he's amazing. It feels random, right? Like that he
but it's also just like, yeah, he's Surfer Dude, but he's also like, I'm looking for a friend,
Yeah.
So it's funny that the person who connects with him is Assam.
Yeah.
Versus June, who was kind of in that same boat, at the beginning
right?
of last season.
Yeah.
Maybe not as out on the wearing that on his sleeve as much, but it's kind of like, I think we're looking at a more laid back, funny June. So.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe that's it. He's a kind of psycho, but also like
I know,
like a little lost puppy that also is like
he's a super soldier.
I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, no, he's adorable. So that was exciting.
That was a great scene, his fight scene where you're just like, okay, basically like, just watch this.
Yeah.
Just wipes those guys out.
With his like beaded chain thing, which is super cool. I love the way he fights with that thing. It's very flashy. Yeah. It's really different. Yeah. It's super cool.
Did you happen to watch the post show?
No, I didn't.
Breakdown. Oh my God, he's very funny.
Okay, I'll have to go
interview
watch
with him about fighting with that chain.
Yeah.
And like the goal in the fights was not to get hurt yourself because
it like come back and hit you or something. That's hilarious. No, I'll have to go watch that. Yeah, he's and some of you may recognize him. I did, and I couldn't figure it out. He is in Mulan. He's one of the 3 kind of soldiers that train with Mulan, that have or sort of the stand-ins from the cartoon, the 3 guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's super. I was like, what is another character? Are you kidding me? This show already is like so full of them, but it worked.
But I'm good with it. I love him. I absolutely love him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also love how, they put in these characters that have like an obviously gay character, which we have this perception that back then that would have been like, you're a dead man. Yeah. And yet Assam's like, whatever, you're going to have bigger problems. This is really nothing. So
yeah. Yeah, I thought that was great. I mean, I thought it, I think what I put was he's like a Chinese gangster Lee. He's somehow wholesome, but also a gangster. But he's like wholesome when he's just like, I want to be your friend. I'll dice or die for you. I'm loyal. Hey guys, what's up? I'm your friend. Just like, so there's like that Lee aspect about him. Although Lee has lost his Lee aspect. Oh my God. Going back to that bar and like just beating the shit out of it. I was like, he went after the fucking customers who weren't even there. And I get it. He's all probably like, I can't hit a woman, so like I'm gonna hit her.
No, those were the same guys.
But
those were the guys.
He's the one who rolled him, not them.
With them.
Oh, okay. I guess I assumed.
No, it wasn't just her. They were involved in it as well. Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, oh, Lee.
Yeah, that was pretty brazen. Like, our good guy, I think, is really struggling to have any good coming out of him right now. He's so in it. But yeah, that was unexpected.
It's gonna
what are you looking for? Exercise.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
He just charged in there. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about favorite fight, because we have a few. We have like the new guy, we've got the one with Lee, and then we have at the end, which is like, it's really good, but it's brutal.
It was brutal. I mean, it has to be that fight in Bill's home. I mean, yeah, the other ones, I mean, with Hong in the alley, that was the more stylized fight that we've come to expect when they're sort of in their soldier roles. Mm-hmm. And, Lee was just so unexpected that it was like, holy shit. But there's no way that I mean, you knew something awful was going to happen just because every time Bill has anytime Bill has a really nice little emotional
Yeah,
moment,
right.
the shit hits
Like
the
a
fan.
moment of happy, like,
Yeah.
and that,
Your family.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you knew something awful was going to happen, but that was just so far beyond brutal.
yeah.
I mean, you knew he was going to kill that kid. There was
Oh
no
my
gray
God,
area
he started
there.
to do it. Like
Yeah.
his hand was moving. I mean,
Yeah.
that was
Oh,
like, it wasn't even like we're sending him a warning. It was like, no, your warning was me saying you work for me,
right.
and now your family dies.
And how vicious Zing is. I mean, there's never any let up with how totally vicious and calculating he is. And if you watch that fight, those guys are his men are getting the crap beat out of him. But the one whose job is obviously to get the kid, just no matter what happened, he just kept going and going and going for that kid. So you knew if they failed,
oh, they probably die. Yeah,
they were dead men too.
Yeah.
So it was just vicious from word go. I mean, everything about it was just so awful. Ugh.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
no, you're absolutely right. It was rough to watch. See, I actually picked the scene with Hong and the beads as my favorite fight, even though the one because the fight at Bill's was my emotional moment. Because it was like the moment of like when Lee is like, I'm starting to feel like I'm imposing. Yeah, and they're like, your family, and his face just, and I was thinking about, like, he fought against his family in the Civil War. Like, he had to run from his past.
He's lost everyone he's loved.
He's lost, and here is someone embracing him as family in the lowest time that he's ever been in. And it was just heartbreaking. And then immediately to go into this very like personal fight that became my emotional moment. And so for fight, I picked Hong just because I love the ability on this show to have so many fighters, but all have really cool stylistic fighting that is very clearly their thing.
Right.
Which I think is really, like, God, I wish we could talk to like the fight coordinators or whatever, like the, whoever, because I just think it's just brilliantly done.
Well, yeah, you really wonder how much of that is the way are the writers and the fight coordinators looking for somebody who's going to exhibit the style that they've written, or are they writing the character's style with the actors' fighting abilities? Yeah. And where does that blend come in, and how do they make that decision? Because
I mean, it all goes so perfectly, though. I mean, I think about our very first fight last season between Lee Young and Assam, and we were like talking about like the tiger and the snake. Like, Assam is like, he's quick, he's in and out, but he's like very jumpy. He's like whatever, and that's very much his personality too. And then you have Lee Young, who's like very like grounded and just sort of steady and just goes in this very like deliberate pace. And then I think we have daggers from Young June, which is very like, he's like, why would I fight with like anything else? Stab, 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 stab. And then there's Hong, and he's like the gay guy, and he's like, swoop with the chains, but I'm gonna kick some ass with like this necklace. I don't know, it just was like this really, it's so fucking brilliant. God, I love this show so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just the fight. I mean, this season is just so important. There's so much important stuff being said this season that, you've got so much going. You have what's going on with the Irish, and you have what's going on with the Chinese, and what's going on with women, and with politics, and so everything is important, and the interplay between it all. Last year you really sort of had that. It was very much coming from an angle of the Chinese being the victims and the Irish, being pretty awful. And this season, with Leary being a regular character, and they're starting to examine that more, and how, that all of it's understandable if you take that person's point of view.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it right,
Right.
But just like in Strike Back, you always understand where they're coming from.
Yes.
And all
Except
of
for
them have a
Buckley, 'cause
level.
fuck him.
Who?
Buckley.
Buckley. Well, no. Maybe we'll learn more about why Buckley is who he is.
Yeah.
Maybe. Doesn't make it. That would be a big example of it doesn't make it
Yeah.
right.
Creeper. Speaking of creepy, fucking him with the
Oh my
washing
God.
the prostitute's hair. I was like, he has gloves on, he's washing her hair, and I was like, this seems so innocent, but it is so creepy.
It is. Oh, that is so like right out of Dexter.
Oh, right. I was like, he doesn't want to leave. How does he know about DNA? That's what I was thinking. But yeah. No, you're right
Competing
about it.
obsessions. Oh, gross.
Yeah.
Oh man, Buckley is just too much. But
Yeah. But you're
But-
right about the Irish. I mean, they're desperate, and
mhm.
it's just so hard because I see that they're desperate, and I just want to slam their heads against the wall and be like, you're angry at the only people who have it worse than you. You know, like
Yeah.
you are turning your anger to the easy target because looking up is so much harder. You know, yeah, I know. But it's hard, but it's really great. And as you have sent me several messages because I didn't respond to the first one, that Dean Jacker's doing a great job. And I responded to something else, and later you were like, you must not have seen this the first time. But it is phenomenal. And then there's fucking Sophie, and I'm like,
Oh,
you
Oh
are
my
the
God.
classic rich girl trying to, like, you're bored and you feel like you don't have power. So you don't feel like you don't have power. You don't have power. You're bored and you've chosen to go slumming it, but like in a really, like, in a way that's not even like I just wanted something new. It's like I wanted to poke my nose in places I do not even begin to understand.
right. And when he just that scene between Sophie and Larry, when he just hits her, clobbers her over the head with her privilege, was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant. And I could watch that a million times because it really was just perfect.
Was that this episode? I don't
Yeah.
know. Are you sure?
Yeah, I rewatched it.
Oh, yeah, there it is. I'm like, I watched so many in a row today. That's why I keep looking at my notes, because I'm like, what was in this one? What was it?
Well, it was after the first
Yes,
time,
you're
when
right.
she goes in there to have
Yeah,
some
yeah,
fun with,
Yeah.
the one powerful
Yes,
Irish
I
guy
gotcha.
she found.
Okay.
And he's sort of walking her home, and
Yes.
she tries to pretend that she knows suffering.
Yes.
Oh,
No.
and he
And
just
she
doesn't
has
spare
a
her
measure
at
of
all.
understanding of powerlessness and what that feels, but she thinks that because she feels that, she understands theirs, which is a true, like, it's just different. Yeah. It's very privileged white woman of her.
Yes, it was.
And then you have the privileged white woman who's actually doing good, Davenport. You're right.
Mhm.
I'm glad. Now I'm like, why did you doubt her? Not you, the woman. I loved at her dinner when she just says, like, my husband chose to sodomize a 13-year-old girl, and like right in that fancy dinner, right in front of everybody. And I was like, yes, okay.
Yep.
I
And I
like you.
love, when she starts that speech and Penny is just, whoa,
Yeah.
oh, I might have a kindred spirit here,
yeah.
and she just sort of raises her
Amazing.
glass to her. Oh,
Best part though was when at the end and Davenport was like, but none of the gentlemen here would ever participate in anything. And then Penny like chokes and goes like, oh, I just had trouble swallowing that. And I was like, bravo, girl, bravo.
Yes.
I love you.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And the men just sitting there like, what just happened to us?
Yeah.
And the older white woman, one in particular, that was sitting to Davenport's right, just that look of disgust on her face.
Oh yeah, just scandalized.
Yes.
How dare you talk about people doing terrible things? But okay, your emotion, because I gave my emotional moment. Your emotional moment.
Oh, I had a lot of them. I also thought that, I really liked what was going on between Atoy and her partner, because she's obviously suspicious now.
Yeah.
There's something, it's not just that he might be weak. There
Yeah.
might be something else going on
Yeah.
here. And, we're not used to seeing Atoy really doubt herself and doubt her decisions. So I think that's going to be something to watch there. Loved the whole thing with Penny at the dinner and and Blake trying to control her and her just being like, not going to happen. I think there was the whole thing with Chow throughout this whole episode. Again, we are so used to Chow just, being one step ahead of everyone, always understanding the big picture and having a sense of control. And we are not used to seeing him nervous. And he's really nervous.
Oh yeah.
And he's trying to get those feelers out there to the key players that, they need to take a breath. They need to take a look at what's going on here because we're all going to pay for this.
Right.
If we don't start getting control of what's happening. And, not used to seeing his lip quiver when he's talking or him having to sort of take a breath and doubting himself or, doubting his power within a situation. And that happened repeatedly tonight.
Yes.
And that's a little scary.
Yeah.
I mean, definitely the stuff between Bill and Lee and the family and the dinner. And oh God, it just breaks my heart. It was such a happy little moment. And every time Bill has a little bit of happiness, the shit's gonna hit the fan. So, that probably was my emotional moment. But I really liked the stuff going on with Chow.
Yeah, I agree. That stuff is he's such an interesting character and he's scrambling.
Yeah.
And I'm just keep being like, don't scramble so hard that you lose control more than you already have.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, biggest what the fuck moment?
It had to be the end. You kind of knew something was going to happen, but I definitely didn't expect it to happen so fast.
No, and so brutally either.
So brutal.
Yeah.
Oh God. I mean, I just sort of I knew they'd go after, I knew they'd go after the family, but I just was sort of hoping he'd have a little bit more warning. And but no, that's not how Zing plays.
No.
He is just.
And we know he's already done this to Lee, almost killed him.
Yeah.
But I was surprised because I thought, he doesn't owe you money now. It's just, maybe it will be, I didn't expect him to go after the family. So that surprised me. But my what the fuck moment was Lee and the carcass in the police station. Just right there in the fucking police. I'm like, dude, take it out back at least.
At least outside.
Like whacking. I'm just thinking about like all the shit flying everywhere and like you're like sitting there at your table.
You can hear the blood dripping.
You're a little piece of fat that like lands on your desk and you're like, dude, I'm doing paperwork over here. Like that was crazy. That to me was my what the fuck.
But I love it. It's, it's like, okay, he was himself for a little while, but he's going to go ahead and do the forensics on this. I'm taking all their weapons and I'm going to test out. And that Bill just sort of walks in like, oh God.
Yeah.
But I love that, what are we having? Well, is there any of this you haven't mutilated yet? Like, they probably really did eat that.
Yeah, probably really did.
The best though, did you catch it when Bill killed the guy going after his son? That he did the same thing to the guy.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
Lee's last
carcass. Oh my God.
Lee's last hit on that carcass with the big sword was to jam it back over. And then Bill did exactly the same thing to that guy.
Oh, I didn't even catch that. Oh my God. Yeah, I just thought that was crazy. It was very like Sherlock. Here comes the drugged up detective with the like weird ass whatever whacking at corpses and the like. I mean, at least it wasn't like a dead person, I guess. But yeah, that was crazy. Okay, so
the chief of police going out and yelling, "I'm gonna fucking vomit."
He's a character, isn't he? So Jesus, going forward, I find my maybe maybe my biggest question right now is Buckley.
Yeah.
I mean, because I obviously am intrigued about all the like what's gonna happen, but my like biggest like what the fuck is happening is Buckley because like I just the like foreboding of him picking that one prostitute up in the dark, and then this was so creepy,
So
and
creepy.
like he had that I don't know. There was like a glass jar of something like green, is it like pan by, and I was like, is that like embalming fluid or is that drugs? He's gonna like, I don't know.
I
That
think it
was
was shampoo, but
oh
yeah,
really?
I was
The
really
green, you think I don't think they had liquid shampoo back then. I think it's like
oh,
you know
maybe
they.
not.
I don't know.
I don't know. I was waiting for literally a full-on Dexter moment. So
Yeah. So I think that's my biggest question. Aside from just like wanting to know what happens, is just what is his fucking deal? Well, I guess we'll find out. And we get to talk to him about it when we do. So
oh, well, I'm wondering, okay, I mean, clearly Father June has some idea that there's something going on because there was also that great scene between young June and Father June. And that was another one of my emotional moments was, I mean, young June just looking like a, you know, such a hurt little boy when his father was treating him basically
His-
like just a
yeah.
business thing.
Yeah.
And he's, I'm standing there thinking, okay, I'm doing what I can to sort of undermine your business, but if you would just give me any
Yes.
validation
Yes.
right now, I'd end it.
And that's I think that I wrote that down. Like then he goes out to Assam and Assam he knows he's got an instinct that Assam has something else
Right.
going on, but that like you're doing great. You're making good choices. He needs that. And if he got that from his dad, no problem. But
Mm-hmm.
his dad's a
And he
dick.
begs for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is what his dad he won't give it to him as long
Right.
as he's begging for it.
Right. And, so, and what is it that's motivating his dad to be such a dick? Is it really, I'm kind of getting that sort of Succession vibe off of it,
Mhm.
that he's testing him and he's
Yeah.
really trying to let him know this is the way you have to be,
Yeah.
but like any sort of younger person who's got another person influencing him, they're just like, no, I'm just going to be brash and take over. And Father June isn't going to let up enough to even try to have that conversation with him to understand where they're both coming from. He's just going to be the boss.
Yeah.
And, I'm going to tough love it.
Mhm.
And
It's fucking like
won't-
Yellowstone too. These
Yeah.
like fathers who think like I have to like basically beat you down to teach you how to have an iron spine instead of raise you up to be like a confident person. Who cares about confidence when you could just be so broken that you have no emotions anymore?
If they would just talk to each other.
We would have no television.
Oh, geez. But yeah, I mean, I almost have a little bit of a soft spot for Father June at this point, because you just want him to take that one little extra step and get it. That if he would just level with young June about what he's doing and why he's doing it, young June is smart enough to get it,
Yeah.
But no, he's getting what he needs from
Yeah.
Assam, and
We'll see where it leads.
yeah.
Nowhere good.
Always that little doubt of how much is sincere with Assam and how much isn't. And we know that the majority isn't. So
Yeah. Man, this show's
so
so
good.
good.
Oh, and what's going to happen? I mean, there's no way Bill and Lee aren't going to be talking about what just happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what's that going to do to their relationship? Oh, and I mean, come on. There's no way Lucy's going to put up with this.
No, the repercussions are going to be hard. I mean, it's going to reverberate through everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. Man, there's so much.
I mean, there's no way to hide something this. he can't push this under the legal tablecloth either. The cops are going to get involved in
Yeah.
this. So how, again, Bill is like setting himself up all these fires he has to keep under control, and he never does. So, that something awful's got to give.
Yeah.
And how is it going to affect the bigger picture? Because, this isn't just something that happened to him. This happened to the Tong. So
Yeah.
how does the Tong
Yeah.
respond to that,
Oh, it's so much.
So good.
So good. Well, okay. All right, guys. I guess we're gonna leave it. It's so good. So good, so good. Because
So
there's
good.
only so many times we can say that. So yeah, we will be back for episode 4. We will catch you next time.
See ya.
Thanks, and tune in next week for another Need to Know session at the Crib. Follow us on Twitter @StrikebackCrib. Out.